dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up.
Never, 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 never. In nothing great or small, large or petty.
I am going to turn this thing around, and I will be better for it. And when I do, I'm going to go to Harvard, and I'm going to speak the truth of it.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
If you're new to the school, what in the world is a leadership commissioning assembly? Well, first of all, it may not be what you expect. From our rehearsal this morning, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be what you expect. But what it is we commission the leaders of our school, the 11 groups that stepped forward to say they wanted to lead in a particular way. We commission them today, we bless them, we hear about their mission and their calling. But of course, this assembly is not just for the leaders in those particular groups. It is, in fact, for everyone. And if you listen carefully, I think you will understand very shortly what I mean. Hopefully each of you will hear something today that will remind you of your purpose in life and what you might be called to do in this very place. I'd like to call forward Virginia Hernandez to say our opening prayer. Let's hear for Virginia! Dear God, please bless this assembly and help us to understand what being a leader truly is. Thank you for believing in us and allowing us to exemplify what a leader should really look like. We are all so grateful for the gift of each other, and we will try our very best to do right by you. We hope that we can carry on your example and know that being a leader is not about creating followers, but about creating more leaders. Amen. Hey, it's me again. Listen, I want to introduce our speaker for the day to you. She is the person who is in meetings very often saying, well, what do our students think about that? Or what do our students want? Or can we involve students in that? She is our leader who loves and appreciates her faculty, and they love and appreciate her back. Okay, amen. She is our leader who spends a ridiculous amount of time of her days, sometimes her nights, sometimes her weekends, working for you and loving you through what she does. Let's give it up for Mrs. Danelle.
Well, good afternoon, morning, where we're still morning. Good morning. So, my favorite section of every yearbook is the superlatives section. It's where the senior class gets together and they nominate people for things like best dressed or least likely to come to the reunion or most likely to succeed. And so I want to talk to you just briefly this morning before we get into all of the meat of the assembly about not necessarily who is most likely to succeed, but who among us is most likely to lead. And so I want you to think, class of 2023 and 24 and 25, if I asked you to think about the person or persons in your class who you would think would be most likely to lead. Go ahead and get that person or those persons in mind. Who is most likely to lead in your grade? Now, if you're like most people, you are probably going to choose someone who is outgoing, someone who might be considered an extrovert, somebody who might be comfortable speaking in front of other people. But I want to challenge you this morning to do that exercise again. Think about who is most likely to lead and to put yourself in your mind's eye. So think about yourself as most likely to lead. I want to challenge all of us today that everyone in this room is most likely to lead. So here's the thing. When I was in middle school, no one ever would have voted me most likely to lead. So I thought it was really funny when I was thinking about this talk and thinking about me in middle school and how hilarious it would have been to me and all of my friends to think that I would be here with you as your principal talking about leadership. So I'm going to take you a little bit behind the curtain, Miss Morton's curtain. So we're going to talk a little bit about Miss Morton, the backstory. So I'll start out from kind of the early beginnings, if you'll hit the slide. So my parents were immigrants to this country. They came from a teeny tiny island in the middle of what probably felt to them like nowhere. Carriacou, Grenada. Anybody ever been to Carriacou, Grenada? One? And there's one. All right. So one person has been to Carriacou, Grenada. It is 13 square miles. That's how big it is. 13 square miles. It's a beautiful place. Exhibit A. It is beautiful, but not rich with opportunity. And so my parents both immigrated to New York in search of opportunity. My dad came in 1940 to the United States, and my mom followed him in 1960 to be married. Little fun fact, they're actually 20 years apart, which is kind of weird if you think about marrying somebody who's 20 years younger than you right now. Kind of weird. Hey, but it worked. It worked. I'm here. It worked. So they moved to New York, slide please, and had 5 children. So I am the smallest one in the picture. Yes, oohs and ahs would be appropriate at this point. This is a great exercise in vulnerability to put my childhood photos on display for all of you. But we were very much a working class family. We lived in what would be considered the inner city of New York. We had kind of an extended family, so my cousins lived downstairs, my aunts lived upstairs. Our house was full of Caribbean sounds and food and lots of family. So family was very important to us. Education was very important to our family, and faith. Those 3 things pretty much were the makeup of our existence. I was a pretty rough and tumble New York City kid. My first time on the subway by myself, I was 5 years old. And I didn't think anything of it because I knew where I was going and I felt pretty confident in my abilities to get there, and get there I did. But that was kind of how I grew up. So fast forward a little bit to middle school. Slide please. All right, so middle school. If you had asked my friends in middle school, they probably would have told you that I was competitive. I was kind of mischievous. And I didn't mind stirring up the drama, amongst my friends. It was entertainment to me. I kind of liked that sort of thing. In fact, to illustrate, Slide, please. I invite you to consider whether these might be fact or fiction. So, Mrs. Morton was loosely associated with the group who planted a stink bomb in the school chapel. Fact, fiction. Mrs. Morton had a hip-hop stage name and wrote lyrics for recess rap battles. And my favorite, Mrs. Morton was suspended in 7th grade. Very good. Yeah, you guessed it, you guessed it, you guessed it. These are all true friends. All that to say, middle school was not my finest moment. And if I had said to you, here is a time machine, I want you to travel back to 1986, and I want you to find your 2018 principal. I guarantee you would not have come looking for me. You would have passed me over. There might have been other people at my school that you would have thought, oh, now there's a leader. That's the person who we should pick as our principal. But it might not have been me, just saying. So the good news was, as I told you, I was kind of academically competitive. So slide, please. So I had the great fortune to take a test in New York City. Every student in New York City is invited to take a test. And there are 3 top math, science, what we would now call STEAM high schools that you can potentially place into. And I was able to place into one of them. Fun fact, Mr. McKnight in the lower school also went to Brooklyn Technical High School. But it was here that I really was able to kind of learn about what interests me and then get ready to go on to college. Now, interestingly, as I mentioned, my parents were not from the U.S. They had not been to college. None of my brothers and sisters had been to college before me, and they knew nothing about the college process. So it was really all up to me to figure it out. And one day, it was senior year, I was feeling pretty stressed out. I didn't know much about colleges, and I'm sitting in the hallway, kind of lamenting the fact that I need to get it together about this college search thing, and I don't really know where to apply. And so my strategy was to apply to schools that had cool names. This made sense to me. I like names like Bennington, Colby. For some reason, those felt like college names. And so that was my strategy. And I realized it probably wasn't all that good of a strategy, so I was feeling badly. Had a great friend, her name was Tony Green. And I never forget Tony sitting with me in the hallway and kind of giving me a primer on southeastern schools. She knew a ton about college. I knew nothing. This was pre-internet, so I couldn't just like go search the internet for schools. And she suggested schools like Duke and UNC and Maryland, College Park, just, lots of good southeastern schools. So I thought, Tony knows what she's talking about. I'll apply to some of those schools. The only problem was that the school that Tony really wanted to go to was Duke University. And it turned out, slide please, that I got in and Tony didn't. Which made for a very awkward senior year. But yay me, right? Yay me. So my story is pretty typical from this point on. So I got these great opportunities in life to go to a really good high school and then a really good college. And after that, I knew that I was interested in education and moved on in that route. Fun fact, when I got to college, now mind you, I'd never been on a college campus visit anywhere, so I didn't know anything about it. I'd never been to North Carolina. Showed up with my bags because Tony said it was a good school. Everything I read about it was great. Good name, good colors, nice basketball team, so it was great. So I showed up, and in all of my inner city Brooklyn glory, and there my roommate was a sweet, Southern girl from Atlanta. And curiously, she was so into her alma mater. Everywhere around the room was green and white and Wildcat stuff. And she was from this school called Westminster that I had never heard of. Didn't really care about. I mean, you know, I'm from New York, so what do I care about Atlanta? And she just loved her alma mater. So it was just a fun coincidence that life came full circle and I ended up here at her school. But this is Christy Cook. She still lives in Atlanta and was my freshman roommate, a fellow Wildcat. So what is my point in all of this? My point is that if anybody had asked me in middle school, I would have said, I want to be successful, I want to make a lot of money, I want to have a great life, but I probably never would have said that I want to be a leader. I never thought about what work I am called to do. Ephesians, So Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God has prepared in advance for us to do." Leadership is about doing the good work that God calls every single one of us to do. No one has it all together as a leader. You may love being in front of a crowd. You may hate being in front of a crowd. You may love working in groups. You may love working on your own. As a leader, every one of us has some strength that we bring to leadership. And every one of us has things to work on. So there's no one thing that is going to disqualify you from doing the good work that God has called you to do. I will also tell you that leadership sometimes comes in a role, like a job, and sometimes it comes in moments. It can come in a classroom where you're in a group and you might be called on to be a leader. It can come in your family where you might be called on to be a leader. It can happen anywhere on a team that you're a part of. Leadership is not just about having a title or a role. Slide, please. So to wrap up, I really want to encourage everyone in this room to take advantage of the opportunities that you have to develop as a leader. Take advantage of the bounty of opportunities here at Westminster. Opportunities to learn about yourself. What things come easily to you? Maybe organizing comes really easy to you. Great. Maybe it doesn't. That doesn't mean that you get a pass on organization. That's something for you to work on. Explore what you're interested in. This is a great place to do that. There's so many things that you can try and get involved in, see if you like it. Because ultimately, you want to lead things that you are deeply interested in and passionate about. And then practice working in groups. There is no single leadership. Leadership always happens in a group or in a team. It always happens with other people. So you want to work on being good at working with other people. Those group projects that you've grown about, those are opportunities for you to develop your skills at leadership. So in closing, I just want to first thank all of the students who stepped up to take on leadership roles this year in the middle school. Your work is going to help make this year not just coming to school and going to class, but make it awesome. I also want to thank all of the teachers who have stepped up to lead groups. You're coming in early, you're staying late, you're doing things way beyond just preparing your lessons, and I really want to thank you for the extra work involved. And to everyone else, I want you to be thinking about the good work that God has laid out for you, and know that you too are called to lead.
Good morning. Welcome to our 2018 Leadership Commissioning Assembly. Today we will be celebrating all of the leaders at the Westminster Middle School. But we'll be choosing 2 people
But you will be picking these names out of this bowl of Jello.
When you come down to the stage, you will pick the card out of a bowl of Jello and then announce it over the microphone.
Then the leadership group called will get their spotlight on.
Who wants to come down and pick from the Jello? Grade chairs, please choose one boy and one girl from each grade.
I'm Jamie Coe.
I'm Ryan Burchell.
I'm Campbell Penn.
All right, Jamie, let's start with you. You want to come pick leadership?
Monday prayer leader.
I had a rough weekend. I'm so glad I can go to Monday morning prayer group in the chapel.
I'm going too. I'm meeting my friends there. I'm worried about my grandma. She's in the hospital and in need of extra prayers. The devotionals have helped me. They're short and to the point.
There are so many reasons to come to Monday morning prayer group.
We hope to see you there.
All right, and we'll come on over and draw a leadership group.
Community council.
Take one. Let's begin. Okay, let's try that again. Rewind.
Double time.
Thank you, Community Council. Abby Shepherd, please come take a leadership group. Debating leaders.
Hola, mis amigos de Westminster.
Debate leaders, we win by leaders. You know we don't put up with cheaters. We teach 7th graders and 8th graders too.
Ooh.
Haters might say boo, but you know we don't lose. Migration to the nation, yeah, that's debatable. I was all over the stage. We debated both sides, got to see the relation.
Quiet cats.
Thank you, debate leaders. Mason, come on over and pick your leadership group.
help you do anything, from building a robot, cutting a piece of wood, or even making a video of the robot slashing a piece of wood.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Thank you. All right, Mark, you got your son?
Well, then that's
Hi, we're the Global Masters.
Hello.
Konnichiwa.
On board.
Salam. Namaskar. Ni hao.
Hola.
Shalom. Namaste.
Marhaba.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Hi again.
We said hi in 11 different languages.
All right, guys, you can come take one.
Big Sister League.
6th graders are going to say 2, and 8th graders are going to say Westminster. We hope to get lots of you involved in assemblies this year, so be on the lookout to hear from us. Looking forward to a great year. Thanks.
We hope you have enjoyed the introduction of leadership groups this year. And now we will move on to the commissioning of the leaders. And to do that, we need 3 amazing leaders of our school. Ms. Little, Mr. Braddock, and Ms. Carvis. Please join me in welcoming them downstairs.
Good morning. This is where we shift to the actual commissioning of these fabulous leaders who come forward. Leadership is the courage to explore your own unique self, to serve with your own unique gifts, and support others in doing the same. This morning we've come together to celebrate the willingness of these 11 groups to lead in that way, not only with the desire to get things done, but with the courage to do so with openness and self-awareness. Before we bless our leaders today, we need to hear about what they are called to do. So there's a leader from each group here. I'm going to start with the admissions ambassadors. They're to inspire and lead our middle school community by modeling and teaching hospitality.
The Big Sister leadership team leads their peers in providing guidance, friendship, and mentorship to 6th grade girls to foster community in the middle school.
The Chapel Council plans monthly middle school assemblies to give students a chance to celebrate, reflect, and be inspired.
The class representatives listen to and speak your hopes and fears and needs to the adults on campus. They build community by promoting your achievements. The
Community Council plans activities and events that cultivate an environment where all students feel welcomed, celebrated, and included in our community.
Debate leaders mentor students new to debate, facilitate debate practices, and help coaches and debaters at tournaments.
Our global ambassadors foster an inclusive and welcoming, globally minded environment by celebrating diverse languages and cultures, bringing different perspectives, and engaging with the world.
The Honor Council teaches our community about honor and integrity, runs Monday morning meeting, and helps students learn and grow from honor missteps.
The Monday prayer leaders share devotionals that are uplifting and support for concerns through prayer and a respectful environment.
Service Council helps to plan and organize community service projects throughout the year, including serving on the 7th.
The STEAM Council are the student ambassadors to innovation and STEAM. We have a few questions to those being commissioned today. Would all members of the middle school leadership groups please stand? All members.
Will all of you standing up to be commissioned today promise to serve the Westminster Middle School with integrity and love? If so, say I will. I will.
Will you do your best to approach your responsibilities with dedication and commitment to the calling of your leadership role? If so, say I will.
I will. Will you make every attempt to fulfill your role with joy, imagination, humility, and a grateful heart? If so, say I will. I will.
You may be seated. And now we have a question for the faculty, staff, and the student body. Do all of you witnessing this commission of leaders promise to do your best to support them in their work, encouraging them as they seek to lead you? If so, say I do.
I do. And now we will bless the leaders. Please join me in prayer. Lord God, on this day of commissioning, I pray that you bless these leaders with creativity, love, forgiveness, strength, and empathy. May they guide us, inspire us, and motivate us all to find ways to lead. Help our leaders, God, to be self-aware, focused on developing as leaders, and to always remember that risks can turn into rewards. Most of all, God, help them to remember that leadership is not about a position or a title. It is about helping others find their place in this community. In your name we pray. Amen. We'll invite forward the middle school chorus.
Please pray with me. Dear God, thank you for blessing everyone at this assembly and all the leaders who have stepped forward to serve. We ask you to watch over the middle school leaders as they explore their own unique selves this year. We also ask you to help us all inspire the leader inside others. Thank you for giving all of us numerous opportunities to be leaders in our community and guide all of us as we embark on a new school year. In your name we pray, amen.